Hey guys, I know it's been a while again, but today we're diving into a mock draft for the NFL. It's kind of that time of the year, so I figured why not join in. So let's start with pick number one with the Jaguars. In Jacksonville, I think this is a pretty easy decision where Travis Hunter is just the selection. They kind of need help on both sides of the ball, and luckily for them, Travis Hunter is capable of playing both sides of the ball. I think he's a better corner than he is a wide receiver as of this moment, but I can see Travis trying to be a full-time wide receiver just due to the money in that position. But I think I think Jacksonville would hope he plays corner full-time and get in some 20 reps, 20 snaps per game on the offense. A pretty easy decision for Travis Hunter at number one overall. Number two, Tennessee Titans are on the clock. And Tennessee, I think there's a few options they could go, but they have the worst right tackle in football. And I feel like you could really solidify your offensive line by pairing J.C. Latham with Kelvin Banks Jr. here. Kelvin Banks Jr. is one of the best pass pro guys in this draft. He's also no slouch in the run game. Um, he's been phenomenal for this Texas squad, and I don't see him slowing down in the pros either, as he's only given up one sack all year and only 3 hurries in 12 games against fantastic competition in the SEC. So, Kelvin Banks Jr. to the Titans. They could go wide receiver. I did think about McMillan here, but I think Kelvin Banks wins out. Now, the Giants. The Giants are in a interesting situation. They did just release Daniel Jones today, and so I do think now that really forces the hand of the front office and coaching staff to find a quarterback that works for them. And I do think it's going to be Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur is interesting as a quarterback. I think he's my quarterback one as of right now, but it's pretty close between him and Cam Ward. Um, I both think they could use some time to develop. You could probably have Shedeur in an NFL game right now, and he'll probably keep you in it. But yeah, he's got stuff to work on. He's okay. I would say he's got above average accuracy. Okay mobility, not the fastest guy, but no slouch in that department either. Um, Not the strongest arm for Shedeur. Not the strongest arm, but he can throw in the run, things like that. He's solid right now. I think if they can be patient with him and give him some time to actually develop, he could be wonderful for the Giants. But obviously, that team is trying to win now, trying to win some games now with that coaching staff, trying to prove a point that they are capable of running a team. On to the Raiders. Now, most of these picks are what I think teams are going to do. I think this Raider one is kind of what I would like them to do. Um, Again, not the strongest quarterback class. It is a bit weak compared to previous years. If the Raiders don't fall in love with a quarterback, I know fans might not like this, but for another year, you probably just stick with a veteran quarterback. Probably not Minshew or those guys, but I mean, you could try for like a Justin Fields for a year and just see how it goes. But I think you draft Ashton Genty. Ashton Genty is one of the best running backs I've seen as a prospect since I've started doing this. He is phenomenal. His ability to break a tackle, the amount of yards he gets after contact is insane. He has almost 1,400 yards after contact. He has missed over 100 tackles so far this year. It is amazing what he is doing right now with this Boise State offense. And majority of the time, he's doing it against a stacked box. He's going up against 7 to 9 guys in the box at once because Boise State can't throw the football. They run with him constantly, and he is still getting it done. In the NFL, he's going to have much more space to work with. I think he's going to thrive. He is a very good weapon in terms of receiving as well. We talked about this briefly. Boise State doesn't really throw the ball too much, but he is capable of catching pretty well. He's got good hands. But yeah, it is ridiculous what he is doing. It's gonna be him and Travis Hunter for the Heisman. I don't think anybody else really stands a chance to win. But both of them are extremely deserving of it. Awesome stuff. The Patriots in New England, number 5. I did think offensive line here. I did think Will Campbell was a possibility. But man, they probably have the worst wide receiver group in the league. It is so bad. And I think Tetairoa McMillan could be the guy for them. He's 6'5", 212. It is incredible how athletic he is for a guy at that size. The way he's able to move freely, it is awesome. Good hips, fast feet, able to just turn really well and cut on a dime. It's nice. Plus, he can go up and get it. He's got a good contested catch rate. He's fantastic in man coverage. It's tough to see a guy that big consistently win man to man. So it's awesome. Again, very good after the catch. He's quicker than you think. I think he's going to be a great partner for Drake May for years to come. And so, McMillan to New England. And now, this threw me off for a second because the Browns did win yesterday because they were, I believe, 6. I believe these Jets and the Browns flipped here. But regardless, we're going to kind of give them the same quarterbacks where I think the Jets go Jalen Milroe and then the Browns are going to go Cam Ward. And I think we're going to pick them together because I think they're both in similar situations in the fact that you kind of have quarterbacks that just aren't really performing the way you wanted them to in Aaron Rodgers and Deshaun Watson. Aaron Rodgers, I don't see being on the Jets after this year. But same with the Browns, and maybe not this year, but the year after, Deshaun Watson's money is going to be cheap enough where you can get rid of him. And you currently have backups on the team that I think are capable of starting for you for a year if you want to take the time to develop these guys. Jalen Milroe and Cam Ward, I think, can both be solid to very good quarterbacks in this league if given the time to actually develop. Jalen needs to work on his accuracy. He has some decision-making errors at times, but a lot of young quarterbacks do. But he is phenomenal on the run game. He's able to pick up yards with his feet easily. He is very fast, very quick. Dual threat quarterbacks are deadly in the league, and if Jalen can continue to work on his accuracy, he's going to be fantastic for the Jets. But Cam Ward for him, he's got great accuracy. Sometimes for him, it's his decision making, in where he doesn't have a lot of interceptions, but he does make a lot of questionable throws at times into coverage. And you can see where his turnover worthy rate is. It is a little high, but it is. Well, actually, his turnover worthy rate isn't that high. Sorry, but in the games, when you do watch him, he does make questionable decisions. He'll force a throw when he doesn't need to, and sometimes it feels like he's trying to play a little too much hero ball. And so I think he can take his time. I think Cam's gonna be a solid quarterback in this league. He just needs to be given some guidance. Both of these guys need to be coached up, but they can be really good for these teams. Moving on to number 8 in Carolina. Carolina needs a lot of help on the offensive side in terms of the wide receiver needs. Obviously, quarterback could be an option, but I don't think they go quarterback. I think they're going to stick with these guys that they have, and I think next year's class is much better. I could also see guys like Connor Wigman and maybe even Miller Moss stick around for another year. And hey, hopefully they improve. But you also got Archie Manning and Nico out in Tennessee. So I can see right now them going defense. I did think about Mason Graham partnering up with Derek Brown, and that would be really sick. But I think Abdul Carter's the guy. I've fallen in love with Abdul Carter, dude. For him to go from middle linebacker to edge, and this is his first year playing as an edge guy, he's been amazing. He had one bad game, but that was the first game of this season. It was his first game ever as a full time edge player, and since then, he's just figured it out. He's been awesome. I mean, he's got 8 sacks in 12 games. He's got a ton of hurries. He's also been fantastic in the run game. He's held his own very, very well. I think Abdul Carter would be perfect replacement for Brian Burns out in Carolina. And number 9, we got the Dallas Cowboys. I know a lot of people have been mocking Ashton Genty to the Cowboys. It is a bit easy. This, obviously Ashton's gone already. And so someone else you guys should keep an eye out for is Mason Graham, and who I do think you should draft. Mason Graham is probably the best defensive tackle in this draft class. He is phenomenal in the run game, and when given a true chance to, like in pass pro, to rush the passer, man, he just causes havoc. He's got 18 hurries from the inside and has 5 sacks alone, and so he is so dominant. He is such a force. At I believe he's 6'3", 320. Yep. And so he's a true junior. I believe I think he was 21 recently, and so still very young. You guys should be excited to have him. I think him next to Micah will be awesome. Moving on to number 10 with the New Orleans Saints. I think the Saints here have to go defensive line, and specifically the edge. They don't really have much. They're kind of dragging the corpse of Cam Jordan around. Nick Scordon is a phenomenal edge player. Nick is probably one of the best run defenders at the edge position this year, but he is also capable of getting to the quarterback. He plays on a very good defensive line at Texas A&M after transferring from Purdue, and he's been very good. Not as many sacks this year as before, but it hasn't slowed him down. He has a ton of hurries. He's been getting to the quarterback. He's causing havoc in the backfield, and so that's just kind of what you're asking for. And he's got a great pass rush win rate at 14%, and that's very good. And his run stop rate is fantastic. And again, another young player is 6'4", 285, a true junior. I think he could be really sick for the Saints for the next decade plus. On to number 11, we got the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, the Bengals could just go anywhere on the defensive line here. Unfortunately for them, if they're going to want an edge rusher, they're probably going to need to trade up for one. However, maybe I think with the interior, I know BJ Hill just got hurt. They could grab Kenneth Grant here, because I'm not quite the biggest fan of Mykel Williams. Shamar Stewart maybe, but I do think it's a bit early for Shamar. James Pierce Jr. could be an option here, but I think Kenneth Grant is a monster. Again, I know BJ Hill's hurt. He's, I think, 30 or 31. Kenneth Grant could be a big help to, is it Trey Hendrickson? Is he the one out in for the Bengals? Yes, Trey Hendrickson. He can give him some help and relief in the interior and make his job easier. Kenneth is great in the run game as well. as he can really just hold double teams. He can play nose as well. Um, he is 6'3", 340. He's just a big dude that could really cover up space, and I think that's what they need, as they could just also use him to stop the run. Um, the Bengals just kind of get bullied all year, and obviously, I think even in your second round pick, you can go after again Jack Sawyer, Landon Jackson, even JT Tui Maloau. Even if you want to go after like Mike Green, the guy from Marshall, in the second round, he could be available there, and he's just an amazing pass rusher. Um, so yeah, I think there's options for you in the second round, but I think Kenneth Green here is too good to pass on. Moving on to Miami, the Dolphins could go offensive line here, um, but I think I mean they drafted Patrick Paul last year. And I think there's somebody else on that offensive line that I'm missing that they have at tackle. Um, that's pretty young, and so I don't think they need a tackle. I think they're okay at guard. I believe they have. I think Robert Hunt is there. Um, I think this is just Will Johnson at corner. Will Johnson is probably the best corner in this class. Um, he's having a little bit of a down year, but he's been playing through injuries, and he was recently just kind of shut down for the rest of the season. But when healthy, Will Johnson is just an elite corner. I think if he was healthy and having a normal year, he could go in the top five pretty easily. And so I think him working with Jalen Ramsey would be phenomenal for his development. Um, I mean, that's just a heck of a duo. And Jalen is also 30, so I think in the next few years, when he eventually moves on from Miami or retires, I think Will Johnson could fill in as the number one corner very easily for Miami. And so I think that's your guy. Moving on to Tampa, I think Jalen Walker's the guy here. Jalen Walker is really interesting because Georgia uses him mostly as an interior off-ball linebacker, but he does have the ability to rush the passer. And some of his tape when rushing is pretty sick. He does really well. He's only 6'2", yeah, 6'2", 245. So he can play a bit off ball and on the line, and I think I could see him in Tampa probably being more of an on the line edge rusher, getting to the quarterback opposite of Yaya. But if need be for Tampa, he could also play middle linebacker, and they can use him that way off of blitzes, and they can get another edge defender and just send him on a blitz, and that would be fantastic work for them too. But he's pretty versatile, and he doesn't miss many plays for Georgia. He's pretty reliable, and he's out there a lot, taking care of different responsibilities. And so, I think he could be versatile with Tampa as well. But he might be more of an edge for them just because of need. But I think they'll get creative with Jalen. On to the Bears. Um, this is my squad. This was a hard pick for me. It took me a while trying to think of the right guy. Um, but it honestly shouldn't have been that difficult. I think they're gonna draft an offensive lineman here, which I think is fine. There's some names later on that I think they could target if they wanted to go wide receiver here, or even a guy like Malachi Starks, because Kevin Byard is older and they don't really have a free safety for the future. But there are rumors that a guy like Will Campbell and Wyatt Milam are going to be players in the pros that get moved to guard. just whether it's like wingspan and things like that, it's easier for them to play guard than it will be tackle. Um, and if that's the case, then I think Will Campbell could be really solid at guard. Um, he hasn't given up any sacks this year, only 9 hurries, only 4 QB hits. He's been playing left tackle pretty much his entire career. He played 2 snaps at right this year. Um, I do think a move to guard could be really good for him, especially due to just like his arm length. But he's got the size for it. He's 6'6", about 320, and he carries the 320 pretty well. Um, and so he's athletic. He can move around really well. Um, I think he's fantastic in the pass game. I think he can still get stronger. It looks like he can still carry more muscle, so I think it will help him in the interior, especially if he gets moved to guard off bull rushes with some of those big guys up front. So Will Campbell to the Bears, I think, is a good idea. On the 15, the Indianapolis Colts, I think this is one of the easiest picks and selections in this draft, where it's just Malachi Starks. Malachi is the best safety in this draft, in my opinion, especially as a free safety. Um, in coverage, he's just phenomenal. He's a ball hawk. He can go up and make plays. And I think that's what the Colts could use. Just a guy that goes out and make plays, whether it's forcing an incompletion, getting an interception. He's also a fantastic tackler for a safety. Um, he's only missed 4 tackles all year. Usually for the safety position here, the missed tackle rate, anything below 11 is usually pretty good and what you kind of want out of your safety, especially like a free safety. And so he's at 7%. That's an elite number there. Um, he is fantastic in cover, um, in coverage. Excuse me. He is 6'1", 205. So that's his size is awesome. Being 6'1", he can go up and jump and get the ball. 205. Any guys usually over 200 pounds. That's what you're kind of looking for, so they can still help in the run game. And he's got it. He's got it all. He's got excellent range. If you need him to come down and cover the slot, like for a tight end or a running back, he can do it. And so, really excited for Malachi Starks. I think he'll be great in Indy. On to Seattle. I think in the Pacific Northwest, the Seahawks are having a tough time keeping Geno upright. I think they've given up some of the most sacks in the league. And so I think this is a pretty easy decision of just Cameron Williams. Cameron Williams is a full-time right tackle, so he won't need to make a transition from left to right. Cameron is just a bit of a bully in the run game. He can, for a guy his size, I believe he's 6'5", 335. For a guy his size, that big, he moves really well. His feet are very good, especially in the run game. He keeps them driving, and he's able to flip his hips and just create a wall for the running back to run behind. And so in pass coverage, I think he could be a little better with the timing of his hands, but a lot of this can be coached up. He's already a very, very good pass protector for this Texas squad, and so I think with coaching, he'll be phenomenal, especially opposite of Charles Cross, who's having a heck of a year. And so I think the Seahawks find their tackle of the future in Cameron Williams. Now, similar to their in-division rivals here, I think the Rams can go tackle as well. Arante Ursary, very similar to Cameron Williams, where they're just massive human beings at 6'6", 330. Ursary is a mover in the run game. He can just move guys at will. He's very strong, very good at keeping his feet moving. And in the pass game, he's excellent. He's done well. Sometimes he can struggle with the speed guys just because he's so big. But again, I think with coaching and just like having his feet set properly and getting proper depth in his stride, he'll be fantastic. He's done really well this year, and similar to last year, he's just kind of been killing it. He's only given up 1 sack the entire year, against great talent too. Those are some very solid defenses he's gone up against in like Iowa, Michigan. It's he's shown that he can do it, and so I think Arante Ursary is the guy here for the Rams. We're gonna continue with um, the NFC West as the 49ers are on the clock, and just like their division rivals, um, I think they go tackle here. Now, the 49ers don't really have depth at this position. And so if Trent Williams or I believe it is it Colton McKivitz on the right side, if they were to get hurt, oh my God, they just really don't have anyone behind them. And so I feel like a guy like Wyatt Milam would be perfect. Oops, sorry. Here's Wyatt. Um, Wyatt plays left tackle, and so he can always get moved to that position. He's also capable of playing guard. I think he can play anywhere on the line except center, and so he brings in great versatility. I can see him being placed on the right side as well if McKivitz, because McKivitz is, I believe after 2025 he'll be a free agent, and I think he by that time he'll already hit 30 as well, and so Wyatt Milam, not only just a plan for the future, but he could even be an immediate impact at guard if you need him to. And so he's a phenomenal offensive lineman, great size. I think his arm length isn't bad. I think it's just average for his size. At 6'6" or 6'5", 6'6", yeah, 6'6", 320. And so mostly I think his arm length is about, yeah, it's maybe like an inch taller than what he is. And so not the greatest arm length for a tackle, and so he might get kicked inside, but regardless, I think he's capable of playing tackle for sure because his technique is just that good. But he'll be an excellent guard as well in this league. And so just insane elite numbers and no sacks, no quarterback hits. He's only given up 5 pressures all year. Um, just an amazing player. And so Wyatt Milam to the Niners. Staying out west, we'll head to Denver. And I think this is an easy decision as well for the 49ers. Or I'm sorry, not the Niners, the Broncos. Bo Nix has been a pleasant surprise. I didn't think he was going to do this well this early. I kind of seemed like he was going to be a good quarterback, but I think he's outperforming. And so you might as well give him some help because, I mean, the Broncos let go. I mean, Jerry Jeudy was traded. They released Tim Patrick, and so they could use some help at the wide receiver position. And I think Luther Burden is an excellent choice here. Luther's capable of playing in the slot. He can play outside. He's thick after the catch, and he's averaging almost 6 yards after the catch. He forces a lot of missed tackles. He can get the deep ball occasionally. He's great against man coverage. Doesn't drop the ball. He's got solid. He's got great hands. Actually, he's got great hands. He's good for a screen game as well. I believe he's 5'11" to 10-ish. So great size. Not really worried about him getting hurt at all. But the Missouri offense hasn't been as great as it was last year. So his numbers have dipped a bit, but he is still just killing it. Now, number 20, the Atlanta Falcons. Defensive line continues to be an issue for the Falcons, and so I could see them just going for an edge player here. I think Shamar Stewart makes a lot of sense for them. Shamar's got the size and height. I believe he's 6'6", 290. Yep. He's a true junior, and he is phenomenal in the run game. He's tough to move. He's very good at keeping outside contain as well. Very hard to run on this guy. And even in the pass game, when given an opportunity to rush, he gets pressures, he gets hurries. Um, the most sacks, only just one on the year for him, but he has 25 hurries. He gets to the quarterback. Unfortunately, it just hasn't finished in sacks for him. And sometimes it's just like that, but he's capable of getting sacks. And I think um, he moves really well for a guy his size at 6'6", 290. He's explosive off the ball. He's able to get there. Honestly, even if he lost like 10 pounds, he could be even quicker. And maybe he finishes those hurries into sacks. And so I think he's having a fantastic year. Um, Even with his size, I think he can occasionally play like over a guard, but I'd like him on the edge for the Falcons. All right, I'll try to pick up the pace. Arizona, the Arizona Cardinals. I think they could go defensive line here. They've struggled to stop the run a bit this year. Um, I think Tyleek Williams would be a perfect fit out in Arizona. Um, Man, is he a monster in the run game? He's not much of a pass rusher. I don't know if he ever will be. But at 6'3", 330, he's gonna hold down the front for you guys as a run defender. I think he'll be uh, great in the Arizona system. 22, Washington Commanders. Now, I did think about them possibly going Michael Williams or even a Josh Simmons. But man, I think they could really use corner help, and Benjamin Morrison is right here. Similar to Will Johnson, having a bit of a down year, but he was playing through injury, and now he's shut down for the rest of the year as well. So, but at 6', 190, Benjamin is such a great corner. He's capable of being a ball hawk and playing the ball really well, getting interceptions. Last year he had 3 interceptions and 3 touchdowns. Like he is amazing in coverage. He can make tackles. So I think Benjamin Morris would be very good for that secondary out in Washington. The Texans. Now, the Texans have been struggling within the interior of their offensive line. Um, However, I don't know if there's a guard that I would take at this spot. Though there is a defensive lineman that I would take at that spot, and it is Walter Nolan. Walter Nolan is one of my favorite players in this draft. He is 6'3", 305. He barely turned 21. He'll still be 21 when the next season starts. He is insane in run defense. He is phenomenal. He's been a good player, but this year it just a lot of things clicked for him. And on top of being a great run defender, he generates so much pressure from the interior of the defensive line. He only has 3 sacks, but he has 22 hurries. 22 hurries. That's more than the past 2 years combined for him. He has been on a roll this year. He's been phenomenal at Ole Miss, and I think he's going to have a hell of a career in the NFL. Big fan of Walter Nolan. The Baltimore Ravens. Now, the Ravens could definitely use edge help here. They have some older guys, some guys that it just hasn't really worked out for them, and so I think this is a great spot for a player like James Pierce Jr. to go. James is a phenomenal edge rusher, and he's really picked it up on the run game as well. He is a beast. He has 36 hurries, only 6 sacks, but man, last year he had 13 on 28 hurries. And so he is capable of getting to the quarterback. And I think Baltimore would be a fantastic spot for him. He, oh sorry, um, he has almost a 22% pass rush win rate. Just insane numbers, insane. Moving on to the Chargers, I think I agree with a lot of people that I can see the Chargers drafting a tight end here. However, a lot of people aren't drafting the best tight end to the Chargers. The best tight end in this draft is Harold Fannin Jr., in my opinion. Harold Fannin Jr. is a monster. He is so good. He's a hell of a tight end in the pass game. Even in terms of run blocking, he holds his own very, very well. But he's a great contested catch guy. He just doesn't drop the ball. He has one drop the entire year, and he has 101 targets. It's insane. He has almost 1,200 yards of receiving yards. He has 8 touchdowns. It is so sick. He's been awesome this year, and he's played hell of a talent in Penn State and Texas A&M at those places, and he was amazing. Great film. Harold's gonna be a beast. Moving on to Green Bay, the Packers. I originally was thinking corner for them, but their defensive line is abysmal, and they could use a pass rusher. Most of their guys are better run stoppers, like Rashawn Gary, more of a run stopper than he is a pass rusher. So they could use a guy that could just get to the quarterback. Even though I fucking hate this team, I should just give them DJ Ugalele, but whatever. Here's Princely Umanmielen, hell of an edge defender. He's good in against the run as well, but this guy's a beast. Big fan of Princely. I think he's going to be fun to watch for many years to come. Now, Steeler fans might hate this because I know the Steelers don't draft a wide receiver in the first round. But man, they could use it. They really could, dude. I think it would be a huge help for them. I thought about going offensive line, but you guys still have James Daniels, who is on IR, unfortunately, but he'll be back next year. You have Zach Frazier at center. I believe it's Mason McCormick at your other guard position, so you're kind of set there. You have Troy Fautanu, who is hurt, unfortunately. He's your left tackle. And then Broderick Jones, who you just drafted recently. And so I think you're kind of set at the offensive line position. I don't think you go tackle. Maybe you go linebacker here. But man, I just think wide receiver is such a need. You have to get somebody to help Pickens. And I think Emeka Egbuka is the guy to do that. He is such a beast. I love Emeka. He is so fun to watch. He has fun film. He's been phenomenal this year. Not many drops. He has good contested catch rate. He's amazing in man coverage. You just put him in the slot. Keep him in the slot. You have Pickens as your X. I think this would be phenomenal. It would be sick. They'd be a great duo. Emeka Egbuka for the Steelers. I think that's a slam dunk there. For the Vikings, I know you guys could go corner, maybe offensive line, could go running back, maybe, but I like Aaron Jones a lot. Corner is such a big position in this draft that I think you could wait, because I legit think you should draft Isaiah Bond. And you can hear me out, but I think Jordan Addison has been solid, and I think Isaiah Bond can be another weapon for JJ McCarthy when he comes back next year, where now you have a good offensive line, you have a great tight end, and now you have 3 weapons at wide receiver for McCarthy. And then you still have Aaron Jones. You can draft running backs down in the second or third round. There's going to be good options for you, I promise. Same at corner. corner is deep. You can find a hell of a corner like Zay Alexander in the second round from LSU. He'll be phenomenal for you. Don't worry, you can wait. But if you can get another weapon for this offense, because you guys already have like the number one defense in the league. You guys are insane. If you can get another weapon offensively for JJ next year, oh man. Isaiah Bond is fast. That boy can run. And I think it'll help create even more space for JJ and Jordan Addison. So you might not love it, but I think it makes sense. Now, Philly. I was thinking Michael Williams. I don't know if part of me was just because of the Georgia connection, but you guys are basically the Georgia Bulldogs. It's insane how many players on Georgia you have on that defense. But part of me, maybe it's just because I'm not the biggest fan of Michael Williams that I'm like, I don't think so. Like I don't know if I think the Eagles might get him, but I'm gonna give you guys someone different because I think Michael gets mocked to the Eagles a lot. I'm gonna go Jahad Campbell. Jahad, it's funny enough, he goes to Alabama, the rival to most of your defense, but Zach Bond, I believe right now is your linebacker. He's gonna be a free agent after the year. I don't know how much cap space you have, but he is on the older side as well. I think he's 29 currently. And so why not get Jahad Campbell? He's insane in coverage. He's a hell of a run defender as well. He's got a good size. He's 6'3", 244. I think Jahad's a lot of fun. He doesn't miss a lot of tackles. He can get downhill in a hurry. He's very instinctive. Yeah, I think he can replace Zach Bond for you after the year if he doesn't re-sign. So, yeah, Jahad Campbell. For the Bills, I think this one's pretty simple. I feel like it's just TJ Edwards here for you guys. TJ would be phenomenal next to Ed Oliver. Insane pass rush grade for a defensive tackle here. He gets a lot of hurries. It's a lot of QB hits. He has a good amount of sacks on the year. Plus, he's just solid in the run game. He doesn't get bullied much. 6'4", 290. He could even put on a couple more pounds till he hits 300. But, man, he's a dog. And I think he'd be a lot of fun next to Ed Oliver, where it makes it tough where you can't double team both of them. So that gives them both one-on-one options. Man, good luck. The Chiefs. Now, with the Chiefs, I think they should go Jahdae Barron. Will they go Jahdae Barron? I don't know. But I feel like you're pretty set at tackle. You could go Colston Loveland or Tyler Warren here for tight end. For when Travis Kelce eventually retires or just kind of breaks down, I think you're fine at running back. However, when it comes to the corner position, I don't think you have a lot of depth there. If someone were to get hurt, I think it could be rough. But Jahdae Barron is one of my favorite corners in this class. He is amazing in zone coverage. He can tackle really well. He can play the ball really well. He has 6 forced incompletions and has 4 interceptions on the year. And so I think he's a fun corner. You can move him around a bit too, where he's played in the box. He's playing the slot. He can play outside corner. So yeah, I think Jahdae Barron would be my option here for the Chiefs. And then with the last pick, for the Lions, I could see this being Michael Williams, the edge guy from Georgia. Michael is more of a run stopper than he is a pass rusher. I think Detroit could probably teach them some things to help improve in that area, or they could go like LT Overton, but obviously they don't really need any of these running backs. You don't need a tight end, don't need any of these wide receivers. Not even Josh Simmons. Like Josh Simmons, I was thinking for the Steelers, but I don't know. Maybe even Josh Simmons for the Chiefs if you don't want Jahdae Barron. Obviously, he's talented, but he's been hurt quite a bit, where he's out for the year now as well. So I could see him slipping in the draft, but I think this is where Michael goes. So Michael Williams for the Detroit Lions. And that's our first round. That is our first round. Um, Let me know what you guys think. Obviously, it's tough to um, try to think of all the players on everybody's teams. I don't follow everyone religiously, but let me know what you think. Try to give a quick explanation on each player about why I think they're a good fit for your team, if it's just a need or maybe a need in the future, right? Like a team like the Chiefs probably don't need a corner right now, but down the line it's going to be helpful. And so, yeah, let me know what you guys think. This was a lot of fun. I have fun doing mock drafts and scouting players. And so, in the future, I want to try to give you guys like top fives, top tens of players that I have in each position group for this draft class. And so, yeah, I'll talk to you later. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Peace.